welcome to an interview with 2024 Tengu Plant World Champion Hymne, or TCG Nomad, or Rumbled User. So the first question would be, which name do you prefer?
I prefer Hymne.
And is there a story behind you changing your nick to TCG Nomad in the Tengu Plant Discord?
Yep, I used to play some other formats or TCGs, and if I get bored, I just change the format. That's the story behind it.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that Falcon necessarily changed the format, but it's definitely something that I wouldn't have put in my top 10 decks to win. Not that I think it's a bad deck, but we'll get more into Falcon in particular later.
No, I meant
You changed which format you play.
I switched the format. I
Oh,
don't
okay.
change it.
I mean, I think you kind of did, to be honest, but I understand you're not that presumptuous of your own impact.
No.
But you do have some accomplishments beyond this. You placed second in Tengu Plant War League, and you placed first in Tengu Mania 2. Do you have any other accomplishments? Yu-Gi-Oh! Other card games?
Not really in Yu-Gi-Oh! There's maybe some small tournaments, but in Duel Masters I have some IDC runs. It's we have a retro Discord for Duel Masters where I played sometimes.
Yeah, so that's something that you made known, but perhaps not to everyone. So I'll put a link to that in the description if you're interested in checking out Duel Masters. We can play against Hymne and, from what I've heard, some other really good Tengu Plant players too.
Yeah, Halfa and Darksigner, for
Yeah.
example.
And those are both your teammates or just friends?
Oh, they're both.
Yeah.
Schluslos also on our team, but he isn't really a Duel Masters player.
And it's U4. Do you have a team name?
Yes, Team Trinity Tactics. It was a better name when we only were 3 persons.
Yeah.
Maybe we need a new one.
I'm not sure if like the Killer Quadratic or something is better.
We will see.
So beyond the Tengu Plant, do you engage with Yu-Gi-Oh? Like outside that, anime, watch content or play other formats?
Yeah, as a child and as a teenager, I watched the anime, and sometimes I watch Progression Series or Master Saga, something like that, and I like to play them as well. And the new dungeon thing from Mika is also fun.
Yep, it's very different to other Yu-Gi-Oh! So I, even though most people might see me as like a highly competitive player, which I am more like a casual at heart. I like janky cards and like low-powered formats with heavy restrictions on what you can play. So I think that's a step in the right direction towards broadening the acceptable level of play within retro Yu-Gi-Oh! In particular.
In Yu-Gi-Oh! I like the deck building aspect and the playing aspect. They're both really great.
Yeah, I think I played other card games. I haven't played Duel Masters though, but in some ways it's stifling, but in other ways it's extremely open in what you can do.
Yeah, and the interaction with the opponent is really nice in Yu-Gi-Oh! And you have the bluffs and something like that. It's really nice.
You don't play modern, right? When if you did play current back in the like back then, when did you quit?
I think after TOS format I quit.
Uh, I quit way earlier, like after Necros. But a big reason for me why I enjoyed the game so much to start with was the bluffing aspect. Like the concept of setting a spell doesn't really exist in any other game.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yu-Gi-Oh! I would like if there's any other TCGs that do something like that.
There are some similarities. The first off top of my head is in spoils you can place resources that you can flip and activate, but it's not really the same. Like the trade-off isn't there. Setting a spell leaves it open to being destroyed for free by Hyperion or something, and resources are basically protected in that game.
Okay, I don't know the game.
It's
Maybe I look into it.
it's dead since 2014, I think. So I wouldn't recommend it. I don't think it's particularly good either. Just a side note. But
I mean, we play Tengu format, which is bad
yeah,
strategy.
fair point, fair point. So we're already on the topic almost, but you mentioned Duel Masters? Do you play other card games, board games, video games?
Yeah, card games. Maybe I dipped into Pokemon once or Force of Will for some hours, but I quit quickly. I play some roguelike deck builders that are really fun, like Slay the Spire, for example.
Yeah, good. I've only heard about it, but all I've seen has only been positive.
Yeah. Also, there was a time when I played chess competitively. Yeah.
Let's get into the deck. My first question is, why did you choose Falcon Punch?
There are multiple reasons. First of all, it's one of my. It is my favorite deck to play in the Tengu format. It's really nice. The things you can do and yeah, the technical play skill that you need for some things.
It's definitely not a linear deck. I've seen some of your matches, and I've seen other players more or less unsuccessfully try to pilot it in casual tournaments.
You need to get used to it, but I don't think it's the hardest deck to play in the format, but it's one of the more challenging, I would say.
So, as a short aside, then, what do you think is the hardest deck to play?
I think if the goal is to get out the maximum, I would guess it is plants.
I assume that Mist Valley FTK or something is harder, but we're talking decks that like can actually win tournaments here. So I'd
Uh,
say
uh,
Plants is the hardest as well.
so I don't see combo decks as the highest level of difficulty because you just really need to learn the combos and maybe if you get interrupted how to do the combos then. But with plants, it's a mid-range deck that uses combos. It's a little bit different, like something like Karakuri.
Ah, I see. That's an interesting viewpoint. I hadn't really considered that, but it does make sense. I do think that the combo decks are typically given too little thoughts, like the pure combo decks. But especially like older, more janky combos are heavily dependent on which bricks you draw and so on. But like you could theoretically construct a deck just to be difficult and have it be more difficult. But out of the ones that are real decks, I see the viewpoint on Tengu. I think it's. I played it a few times. Obviously, most of us have, and I definitely did not play optimally.
Yeah, I also still today I'm struggling to I would say to perform on a level with Tengu plants that I feel is satisfying. So, sometimes I just feel that I made a mistake in the duel.
So would you, if you were more comfortable with Tengu plans, would you have played that instead of Falcon Punch?
No. I would have played Falcon Punch this tournament even if I would feel very confident with plants.
And why is that?
There are some competitive reasons why I played it.
Hmm?
First of all, if I look at opponents that were qualified for the tournament, I see there are no really combo decks like Sexam and Karakuri that really would have hurt me. Because this deck really struggles with those combo decks that end on NetBeast or something like that. I don't really have a lot of good tools to break through those boards. So I had some tournament runs that just ended with them. A little bit sad. Then you can see the Drago engine aside. It's a little bit new, I would say. Before that, Falcon's biggest weakness was the agent matchup. Now, at least when people didn't knew about the dragon, Falcon would have won. I think they get just surprised and just lose against it. It's possible that the Drago engine will be enough to work against Agent after they play adjust to it. But for this tournament, it was perfect, I think. Another reason why I played the deck is there are some potential Tango Plants pilots who qualified for the tournament that are really strong, and it's good to have some advantage against those, especially against someone like Tia, aka Nuki. I would have liked an advantage, and Falcon Punch has a small matchup advantage against clans.
I definitely agree that like beating Tia's plants is something you have to do if you wanna win a tournament.
Yeah,
And what about Falcon makes it a good matchup versus plants?
Falcon tries to grind, and Tank Plant somewhat doesn't stop it. It doesn't. It's not that big of a hindrance for Falcon Punch to grind against it. Other decks may play a Net Beast or kill you with agents or something like that. But Tengu Plants, it's really strong, but it doesn't have specific tools that annoy you. So it's like you play a neutral game, and I think if you have a neutral, the better grind deck just wins. Falcon Punch is I would say one of the scariest grind decks in the format. You can generate plus runs every turn with a specific with a lot of setups. There are a lot of combinations of setups that can get you that plus one. Also, Plants plays Ryo. Falcon Punch likes to play against Ryo decks because Tour Guide gets you the Sengen engrave, and also Ryo. Trooper gets you 3 cards engrave, and you let you draw a card, and Falcon just runs over it.
So preying on Ryo was part of your strategy.
Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest reasons why I won the tournament. Is because a lot of players weren't familiar with Falcon Punch, so they made some mistakes, I would say, against it, like keeping their maximal count on Ryos in the main deck. I would say side all of them out, or maybe don't keep 3 in your main deck against Falcon. It's really abusable for Falcon Punch decks to just get a +1 against Ryo.
You have 9 normal summons that out it in your deck, and out of those, at least half of them does it positively.
No, all of them do it positively.
Okay.
Tour Guide is more like an Armageddon Knight in this deck that gets to Leviathan that has 2500 attack. The main goal of Tour Guide is just to dump Zangan, and it works against Ryo. So all of them go
Oh,
positively.
I see. Yeah, you see, I'm also not familiar enough with the deck clearly, but that's why you're here. So there's a card choice in particular that is maybe the most controversial in your deck, and that is you're playing 3 copies of Duality and Upstart.
Yeah.
And I saw that that was also in your previous deck, and you have at least become somewhat known for playing the max amount of draw in Gravekeepers 2. Do you think this is something that people sleep on in general, or is it specifically this deck and Gravekeepers where that is the correct choice?
I would say there are a lot of people in the community that sleep on the draw power of Duality and Upstart, but not all of the decks can play both. Some people that play GK or Falcon Punch, when I see them playing, they side out Upstart, which I think is absolutely wrong. You should just think about it like you play 37 cards. You should never side out Upstart except when you are in timeout. Duality I can see against Ryo decks that I put maybe 1 out of the deck when I go second for the Hydra Dragon.
Those cards kind of conflict. I've also, historically, when I've been playing multiple draw spells, I usually don't cut the Upstart, but I might cut 1 Duality.
Yeah,
You also don't brick on multiple Upstart, but you do on Duality.
exactly. And there's nothing that stops Upstart except maybe Net Beast.
And there are some minor differences between your old list and the new one. In the main deck, I think it's only 1 card. You played double Fiendish Chain and Allure over Mindcon and Dust Shoot, and I 100% approve of playing the broken cards main deck. Was the old list, like, was it a deep strategic decision to not run Mindcon and Dust Shoot main, or was it just a mistake?
I think it was just a mistake. I think we have bad experience had influenced us so that we put Trap Dust Shoot in the side deck because Falcon Punch has a lot of draw power in the mid game, I would say, with Card Trooper, Upstart, Duality, and then your Trap Dust Shoot is not alive, and that's a little bit sad. But if you play the game enough, you notice you just need to play the broken cards. There's no way around it. I don't like Trap Dust Shoot, but I need to do it if I really want to win. And Lure of Darkness, I think Lure of Darkness is a good card. You have 8 darks, sometimes the Dark Arm Dragon bricks, and getting Gale or Sephiroth out with Livier is also very nice. But in the end, it's not consistent, and Mind Control is just a better card.
I think it's a really, really strong card.
Yeah.
Almost brain control level, honestly.
Yeah. Earlier it was in the side deck, but we noticed that maybe there are some matchups where Mind Control is not that great, but still okay. And in other matchups, it's just game winning. So if there are no bad sides to Mind Control, why not in the main deck?
And another thing that is I personally really like, but it is also somewhat uncommon, is that you run one-dimensional prison. I specifically like the count of 1. Was that a concession to space, or is there another reason?
It's space, and I think you need one just so you have a little mind game with the opponent. But mostly the reason is space. I really would have liked to play more Deep Prison, one more Veiler, and one more Fiendish Chain, but I don't see the space, and I will not cut Upstart for that.
I agree that the configuration you have looks stronger, but those are all cards that, like, there was one game I think I saw where you kept looping Finderstein and it looked unbeatable, but I guess the problem is that it's hard to get into that position rather than the other way around, right?
Falcon Punch, when it reaches the looping point, most of the times it just wins, but it's not that easy to get there. I would like to play 2 Fiendish Chained. There are some cards that maybe can be cutted, but for this tournament I did decide against it. Some cards that could be cutted are Crow, Road, the Deep Prison, Mirror Force. You only need your opponent to think you play it. You don't need the card in itself. Sometimes, so there's maybe some space, but I think the list that I pulled for this tournament is maybe the best one for now. Maybe Falcon Punch will improve in the future, but right now I think that this is the best list.
Is there anything you didn't like about the list, especially main deck?
Yeah. Before the tournament, I tried a version with 2 Veiler because I thought I need 2 Veiler, and I still want to play 2 Veiler, but I'm not able to incorporate 1 Veiler without cutting Crow, I think. And if I cut Crow, I need to. I don't have enough darks for Dark Arm Dragon, so I need to cut him. And then I need to somewhat compensate for that. Maybe play Blackluster Soldier with Ryo, or play another 40 card. I played Grand Mole a long time for the testing sessions as a 40th card. That was okay. But in the end, I just got back to Crow and Dark Arm Dragon.
So you kind of mentioned this briefly now, but like you did do a lot of testing.
Yeah.
How many games do you like ballpark level?
I would say 30.
Your opponent just picked whatever deck they wanted, or did you say like I want to test against agents to see if this works?
I mostly played against randoms. The good thing is they most of the times play agents. But I
Okay.
also played against Half and Law a lot, and there I could just ask for a matchup, they play it on a high level, and that's also really nice experience.
I think that's something that people should do more often. Whenever, like back when I played more actively, I fortunately like only joined tournaments basically, and that's why I don't perform, I don't test. But I would have Janky play agents, and then we'd play like 10 games to see if the deck even had a chance of winning, and if it didn't, then rework or toss it out.
Yeah, I think that's the right approach.
Back to the deck, I see that you have changed one card in extra deck from your previous list, and that was cutting Scrap Dragon for Ancient Fairy Dragon, which in my
Yeah,
opinion seems like a pretty obvious thing to do. It's hard to make eights, right? And
yeah.
it's a good seven that fills a different purpose.
The only synchro monster we get out consistently are level 6 and level 7. Catasta we get out also pretty often, but that's only because of my control, I would say. Sealing the Earth or something like that.
And the side deck is totally different. And you briefly mentioned Drago, but I figure a lot of people, me included, don't really know how to use it here because there's only two dragons in the main deck, and there's only three Drago and one more dragon in debris in the side deck. Is the plan just to normal summon it turn one and then win without it ever leaving the field?
It would be nice if it's that easy, but sometimes you summon them turn 2 or get him out with Call of the Haunted after you mill with Troop, I would say. But yes, that's the plan, and it works most of the time. Earlier, 2 years ago, I was Tengu Mania 2, I think.
Yeah.
There, I tried to counter agents with Iron Roll and something like that. Yeah, I tried Iron Roll, Mind Crush, and Debunk, but there's a really big flaw, and that is they all die to MST and Decree. For a long time, I tried to counter somehow Decree, but it's not really possible with Falcon Punch to do it in an efficient way. So the other option is just to attack the decks that play Decree. So I just side out some traps. So I have like, I think 8 or so, and play the Dragos instead.
That is something that I generally would advise players to do. Rather than try to counter their counter, try to find a way around. Of course, it's not always possible, but siding out traps versus decree rather than siding in trap eater or whatever is generally a better option.
Yeah, I still play like 2 MSTs against agents just so I can out Decree or maybe the set MST.
Yeah, it's not bad to have it as well because you're still gonna have some amount of traps. It's
Yeah,
just like planning to play the same amount or actually even more if you side in iron walls and stuff is generally not a winning concept, I'd say.
yeah. If you played 3 MST against the Decree and they have 3 Decrees, most of the times you will lose because if they have more Decree than you MST, you lose because they negate all the traps. If they have less Decree than you MSTs, you lose because you have too many dead MSTs. You only win if you have the same number or around the same number. So that's not really a winning strategy, I would say.
You know, I agree. In the side deck beyond the Dragos, we have Debris, and did that only come in when you brought in Dragos, or is it good enough by itself?
I also played against combo synchro decks. So I just side in 3 Maxi and Debris, so I can go into Black Rose or Orange Dragon against established boards like against Karakuri or Sixam or no Fabled nowadays.
You will see if that keeps up.
Yeah. But you could play another dragon. I'm not sure at this moment. I'm not sure how many dragons I want to play in this deck. I think it's 6 or 7. There are some other dragons I consider like Dark Metal Dragon, Explosion Dragon, Second Dark Spear, or the Dragonic Knight against Ketsup and agents.
That's an oldie.
Yeah.
I read it when it was released, and I thought it was the most broken card ever, like at the height of Teledad format.
No, it's not.
No, it's definitely not so. The extra deck has like common things, but the one card that I was surprised to not see is Steals from Roach. I happen to think the card is pretty bad, but a lot of other people seem to swear by it. How did you feel?
I don't have the space for Roach. I think Roach is okay in decks where you often go into rank 4, but here we only go really into rank 4 if we attack into gods and want to have Utopia, or if you have mind control and go into your best rank 4, what 90% of all cases is Utopia. So I think one Utopia is enough for rank 4. Also, your Falcon is something often semi-boss monster in itself, so you don't really want to get a Prot Array for something, except maybe Thunderlord, because Thunderlord is just Falcon on crack.
I actually have a story about this. I was playing randoms on DB testing, and I faced, I think I played Dragoonity, and when you get into low resource game state with Dragoonity, you basically always win because you have Ravine that ensures you top deck a good card every turn. But they had Thunderlord, Fiendish Chain, and Big Bang Shot. So whatever I did, they would just counter, and it goes up to 3100 attack if you bounce something. So no Synchro could attack over it. If I used an effect, he could stop it, and if I just passed or tried to do a red eyes, he would Big Bang Shot it. Like, I know Big Bang Shot isn't like actually good in the deck, it's probably win more, but Thunderlord is really strong.
Yeah. With Core of Dante together, it becomes somewhat of an not auto-build boss monster, I would say. For this format, you need multiple cards for it. I really often just summon Thunderlord with Call of the Hunted, just so I can protect my board for something like that. You cannot even out Thunderlord with Honest in some cases, because you can use Thunderlord in a damage calc and bounce your Call of the Hunted, and get him back next turn.
Also, if you have a call on Thunderlord, you can bounce in damage step, let him die, and then they have to attack directly instead.
No, they cannot attack directly because there's no replay in the damage step.
Ah, oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and Thunderlord is also, you can use the effect in the damage calc. So something like Kalut and Honest is just wasted.
That's a trick for all you people who want to pick this deck up, I guess. I did not know that.
Often in testing against randoms, they try to kill a monster from you with Catastor, and they can just use Thunderlord to dodge that attack.
That triggers a replay though, right?
No, Catastor also triggers some damage step.
Oh,
So
it's a start of damage step, you're right. Wow.
yeah,
Schooling me on rules here, I see.
if it's not like that, Catastor would be able to attack every monster on
Yeah,
the field.
you're absolutely right. I have some questions about cards you didn't include, but if you have something in particular you want to highlight about the deck, you're free to tell us.
No, I don't think there's something that I need to say.
So, did you consider additional hand traps, like Cycle Reader, for instance? It's a tuner and it's also a target for limit reverse, right? I think it has 1,000.
You have no idea. Me and Darksider considered Cycle Reader so often, but we decided against it. It's really good because it's a level 3 tuner, which really is important for Falcon Punch. But I I needed the space for the Drago engine, so I couldn't fit it in.
I also feel like Crow is, like, even though, to me at least, it looks like one of the weakest cards in the main deck, beyond being a dark. But it's really strong against Tengu plans, and you want to have that edge, I guess. It's also decent versus Chaos decks and such. And compared to Cycle Reader is stronger if you draw it in some ways, but it doesn't hit plants, which is where Crow is at its most effective.
I think in the Tengu Clan format, Crow hits, I would say 90% of all decks.
Okay.
At least okay or good. That makes it, I think, playable in the main deck. Like I said, during testing, I tried to play a version without it. I think it's possible with second Veiler, Bryo, and Blackluster Soldier. Can somehow get there. But thanks to Team Food Fighters, I think, we get a rise on all of the Hunted Agents. And that told me I can play Crow because a lot of players nowadays play agents with a crow weakness. So it's not longer a dead slot in the main deck, and yeah, maybe I lose against Grand Marju if I draw Crow, but I can win the other 2 games.
Grand Madre is also not a real deck in my opinion. And I know this is controversial too, but that's neither here nor there. And did you consider Hedge Guard?
Which card?
Hedge Guard. It's you discard it during damage step and the monster cannot be destroyed by battle, but its attack is halved.
No. Is there a reason for that card?
Yeah, you can recycle it with Falcon, Call of the Hunted, and you could protect Falcon from crackbacks. Like, I'm not saying it's good or anything, I'm just wondering.
No, I never considered that card. It's really funny. Often people ask me, did you consider this card or that card, or you should play this card? Because Falcon Punch has so many unusual interactions. I think the most common one I hear are Big Bang and Safe Zone.
Yeah.
But there's some other things like the Barrier Statue of Wind and so many more things. I test a lot of them, but most of the times it's just better to keep the engine small. And some people forget that you don't always have your Falcon there, or sometimes your opponent just stops it. And I don't want to play too many cards that cannot do something on their own. What does Big Bang Shot alone?
I feel like Big Bang Shot and Safe Zone are I kind of win more. I played one game and I had saves in the deck, and I had to save some my Falcon to protect from Dark Hole, and then I couldn't attack. We just drew and passed, and then they won the game because I couldn't do anything.
Yeah. Me and Darksander tested Safe Zone a lot. This was interesting, but at the end we decided against it. It's I think it's not worth it. The deck is tight anyway, so I think Fiendish is most of the times a better Safe Zone.
I can see that. Though other cards that you didn't play, Book of Moon, is it the same reasoning that you don't want cards that do nothing by themselves?
Yeah, I think Book of Moon in a lot of situations isn't good enough. In some decks, yes. In this deck, I don't think you have the space. It could be nice if you need to block an attack with Call of the Hunted, and after that you want to dispatch your monster from Call of the Hunted and maybe set Falcon so we can bounce Call of the Hunted. But in those cases, I notice I can just attack with Falcon, bounce Call of the Hunted, and yeah, Falcon goes to the grave, but I have trap again. That's enough most of the times, I think.
I typically prefer Book more in decks that actually need to out Ryo, or decks that play heavily into Veiler where you can book your own guy. And I think this deck doesn't really fit either of those criteria.
That's true.
And the last card from main deck I'm thinking about is Bottomless Trap Hole. I was a big proponent of Bottomless over Prison earlier, but the rise of like agents in general and like more people are leaving Sangan on the field, as well as playing more and more Ryos. So I think Prison as something that can work going second and can out monsters that Bottomless isn't really better at outing. Has made me value it more. Go on.
Maybe it's a personal thing, but I don't like Bottomless. Some people tell me if you need Deep Prison, you're already in a bad position. But if your opponent goes first and plays a Ryo, you are already in a bad position. So I think Deep Prison is most of the time is just better. I think maybe in this deck you could play Bottomless because you don't have a Ryo weakness. But in general, I think Deep Prison is better. Also, now you have 2 battle traps. Against summons, you still have Warning and Judgment. So I still think Deep Prison is the way better choice.
If they see one Deep Prison or one Bottomless, they typically expect a second copy. I think that's what I thought about the deck. And if you have any closing thoughts about the deck, you're free to share. Let's take a look at the replay, and we're gonna watch the finals of the World Championships versus Alex Lenin playing TG. This is kind of standard start.
Yep.
I'm thinking here, there's like not really a big argument, but you play upstart before duality like always.
Yes, most of the times.
So you like know more of your cards before you make the choice. Is that the reasoning?
Exactly.
Like I also do that, but I know there's at least some debate. Near take warning also makes
Yeah.
sense.
So Falcon has the possibility to use Heavy Storm in some really cool ways, I think.
Bounce your back rows or?
Yeah, you lure out your opponent to set the entire back row because you set some stuff, and then you attack with Falcon, bounce the back row, and activate Heavy Storm. And yeah,
You
that's the thing I want to try here to win the game. I would say very early on.
yeah, you know you're facing TG, right?
Yeah, I know, I know.
Uh,
At this point, I know what against I'm playing. It's the final.
yeah, I think that is something that people should do more. Scout first of all, and it's extremely valuable to know what you're facing. Like if you knew you were facing agents, I don't think I have had enough choices to play differently already, but I could already like see the lines diverging from next turn.
If I play against agents, I would set all my traps because I have road and kept the heavy storm maybe for Bryanek.
You keep
So
mirror force.
yeah, I thought I need to bounce the road if it's my turn, and then I can use heavy storm to clear all his back row.
Oh, so the plan is to warning their summon if they summon Rush Rhino.
Yeah, exactly.
Uh, like I think that makes sense. Like I'm kind of a chicken though, so might have set this too, and then just ate like the road being destroyed, so I can use warning if they have Starlight, and like of course they have it. Uh, but it might as well have been bribed, which I think is underrated in TG.
In this situation, I was in the final, was a little bit nervous. My plan was to activate running on the summon, but here I think it was a big mistake because not only there is reborn a threat here, but also I could just have let the barbarous live. It was no threat. I
Mm.
and kept the soul warning for a potential road.
Yeah, like did you get too hasty because you had your plan with like bounce for heavy storm?
Yeah, exactly. I had the plan ready, and I was a little bit nervous entering the final. That's one of my biggest weaknesses, I would say, that if I enter a semi-final or final, I get a little bit nervous at the start and get back during late game one or game two or something like that.
Yeah, it's common and it's humanizing to hear that we other normal people who don't win world championships also have that fear.
Yeah, no, the punish.
Yeah, he has the best punish possible. I guess like Striker, Warwolf could also have been something, but this is definitely like the worst case scenario. And now you
Yeah,
have Mirror Force in hand. You can no longer get rid of your own road with bouncing, and it's gonna beat over.
exactly. So here I thought I'm already behind. My only way to win is to use Mirror Force next turn, kill his stuff, and maybe get Dark Spear next turn somehow and win. But I can only set Mirror Force and limit reverse if I use my Heavy Storm now, because later it doesn't work anymore. And I'm so much behind, I need to risk it. And I get punished.
Yeah, he has his own. It's kind of ironic. Like you both opened road, and you both played as one off.
Yeah,
And now he has game on board, so you're gonna have to trump with Mirror Force.
yeah,
On the other hand, even if you hadn't heavy stormed, if he summons Tengu, he could have done it on attack, and then you would have had same. Then you would have like actually lost. So unintentionally, you actually gave yourself one turn by doing this.
oh,
But
true.
yeah, it's still like a terrible situation, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, and here now you're gonna drop to 300. So do you have anything that could like make you not lose the game from here?
Tour guide is the start, but now I don't think I have anything that could save me now.
Yeah, you have no way to make something big enough to not
My
die to
old
Barbarous taking over.
My only way is to get Turret and Zangan out, go into Leviathan, ditch the Zangan, I attack with Leviathan, he activates Mirror Force, I activate Limit Reverse of the Zangan, search Crow, activate Crow, get 3 Darks on grave, and then use Dark Arm Dragon. That was my only hope I have left.
Oof, yeah. Let's see if that is what's gonna happen. So sending in here, and he prisons, and you immediately concede. Yeah,
Yeah.
no way out. Like that game one was like basically everything that could have gone wrong went wrong. It's not really a showcase of the deck as much as like in the generic cards you played got countered, and Falcon might as well have been Gemini Elf.
Yeah.
But for game two, is this a strong hand, you'd say?
Yes, just because maybe strong is not the right word, but I think it's good enough. You have a warning, and I can just set Trooper, so I don't get outed by Ryo. I would have liked to just normal Mist Valley, but I was scared of Rhino plus Reborn again.
And
And
as
I
we
will. Yeah, so I think I just set Car Trooper and set Warning, because Car Trooper is always a neutral play. That's fine enough. I think it's really nice to set your Car Trooper.
yeah, the only like real punish is Banisher of the Radiance, which is not something TG plays.
Yeah.
Like if you open a hand like this, do you always set the trooper, or is it
No.
more context sensitive?
There's more context. I play against TG, so I know Rhino plus Reborn or plus MST could just get me a -1. That's why I cannot play the Falcon. I could play maybe Zangan, but at this point I'm not sure if he plays Ryo, because he can set it out, and I saw a Barbaros game one. But I just wanted to be sure, so I set a Trooper and a Warning because I knew that was safe.
That's something to hear about. I was specifically referring to if you summon and mill with trooper, or if you always set it
Oh,
first turn. If
if I
that is the summon you're gonna go for.
if I had a Revival Trap, I would have gone for the mill and just take the damage. But I played a lot against Shinoslo, and I know I need the life points somewhat, and I have 2 warnings. So I just thought I set the Trooper.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable myself. I typically don't mill unless I'm gonna attack, or like I'm digging for something in grave. Uh, that's something that's come up more that agents play Trooper and Call of the Haunted as well, that they will summon Trooper, mill, pass, and then the opponent is now like free to attack basically directly.
Yeah, I would say it's matchup dependent and what you
Yeah.
have in hand and something like that. I know the matchup. I don't want to lose too many life points, so just Trooper set and chill.
Is that like the is that how you win the TG matchup, or by not dying, or
Most of the times I win the TG matchup in just getting a +1. After that +1, my next +1 is easier, and after that I grind the hell out of TG.
yeah? Falcon works on the skill drain, right?
No,
It doesn't. It's an effect.
Falcon is in continuous effect.
Oh, of course, it doesn't sort of change. Yeah, I wouldn't say skill drain looks particularly strong against you. Maybe it is.
I think it's okay. It's not that broken, but it's not that weak. It's okay, I would say.
Yeah, both the TGs in top four main skill drain and Barbaros. Alex Linin did the main Ryo, which he didn't take out, which is something that I guess Shinoslav would have done had he been in the
Yeah,
situation.
Shinoslo would have done it. He knows that.
This is a normal opening, I'd say. Definitely go for one warning. I don't think there's much. Are you afraid of Heavy Storm sided?
Is it? I think TG also plays Heavy Storm in the main. Am I wrong?
I have not seen Heavy Storm in the main in a very long time. Heroes typically do though, but not TG.
Some TG player does it. If not, they have it inside. So yes, I'm scared of Heavy Storm.
Yeah, reasonable. And here he goes for Ryo, which
Yeah,
has no game at all. You have 2 outs in hand already.
I don't need warning against the Ryo.
That's like a real strength of the deck, I'd say. And then you set limit reverse. Was there consideration to setting something in case you had MST?
Yeah, exactly.
That's also like a micro optimization. Like I'm not even sure that like most people would realize they can do that, but something to keep in mind. This, yeah. Now you decided that you just lose if he has heavy storm, or
I wouldn't save. I mean, I would go -1 if he has heavy storm, and I would take some damage. I wouldn't lose at that position.
but you're fine with
But
getting heavy storm there then.
I would prefer to not get heavy stormed here.
I think
But
most people would.
yeah, but I think it was a good risk. I don't lose. I lose somewhat much, but it was important. I cannot eat too much damage, especially if I want to trigger 2 warnings. So I wanted to deep prison, and reinforcement is limit reverse is safe because it goes neutral if I have trooper in grave.
Yeah, if he had heavy storm, he'd be on 5 cards and you'd be on 4, and then you draw up to 5. So you're basically 1 card behind since you started.
Yeah,
But it's still like extremely even if that happened. The bigger problem would be that you would take almost 5,000 depending on what he has. But he doesn't have that. Instead, what happens is he's gonna reborn it. Yep, both games.
it's okay at this point.
Yeah, it's a very strong card gone for a card that's gonna be worse late game.
Here I banished Ryo not because Ryo's a strong card against me, just because I don't want it to eat so much damage. I need to activate a warning in my hand at some point.
Yeah, you would be down to 800 right now. Yeah, you would be extremely low. You would have 400 life points if you took the attack and
Yeah.
then used warning. And with a trooper in attack, that is not the situation to be in.
And with 400 life points, I cannot activate Zephyrus.
That is also true. Oh, you decide to main phase draw?
Yeah, I needed a body for my control.
Oh, so the plan was to, if you hadn't milled Sephiroth, would you just have attacked?
Yes. I activated Limit Reverse in end phase because I could have draw duality. The card that the opponent said could have been MST or warning that stopped my Limit Reverse. And I had I would say, high likelihood to get tour guide into Livier, into Falcon, or maybe duality into Falcon, or just draw Falcon. And if I don't draw those cards or mill the Zephyr, I still can just attack like that. It's in Falcon you need to make this small gambles sometimes. Where
Definitely.
if you lose that gamble, you don't really lose something. You just go neutral because you got Zangan or Trooper back. But if you win this gamble, you go +1. That's really important.
There's also something to mention that now you're up so much. You're at 6 to his 3.
Yeah.
And soon it's going to be even worse. And like, I have played some TG, even though I played no Falcon. But if I look at the cards now, like I see no way out for the TG player. Like they'd have to top deck the perfect answer several turns in a row to not lose here.
Yeah, that's true. But I know the matchup. I'm still a little bit scared, even if I know I run to 90%.
There's definitely ways they could do it. It's just like you have 3 extremely good traps, a search and an attack blocker, and he's already used Reborn.
Yeah.
And here you're definitely fine with you resolving that.
Yeah, I used warning here because I saw I can go +1 next turn with Livier and Falcon, and I don't want him to interrupt me with TGME or something like that, and he has no reborn. So I think warning was okay here. I think even the perfect play to activate warning on the wolf.
A way to beat TG, at least for me, is to just time walk them. If you hit their normal summon every turn, they only have Call, which not everyone plays, and Reborn to accelerate beyond that. And drawing like Warning to Bottomless or like combination of that and Prison can sometimes just solo the game. And in my opinion, EM1 is one of the strongest cards in the deck, so that wouldn't interrupt your tour guide play, but it would take Falcon and then make you unable to attack, which is more important.
Yeah, also Falcon would have been the strongest monster on board at that point.
Yeah. So I definitely think this is a reasonable play. If Ribbon wasn't gone, I would not have done it.
Yeah, yeah, that I agree. I can play with 700 life points into warning.
So he sets warning, you summon Torgal and he's gonna warning that, of course.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, and you limit
Uh,
reverse.
yeah, I was thinking about using duality, but I saw my opponent only has 3/5. I set him on a clock,
Yeah.
and I still have Fiendish if he top decks a monster.
Yeah, I think putting the pressure here is better. Like you're cutting the game in half by doing it now rather than later. And you also already used a lot of monsters and your normal summon.
Yeah. Also, I can mill Dark Spear, which can be important, or Falcon, because right now I have no access to my Bones engine,
Yeah.
I would say.
You already milled Sephiroth and you have none in hand or grave.
Yeah. But there's another monster that can bounce that is not Falcon or Sephiroth.
It's not Thunderbird or Brionac either.
No, it's Bryonek. You can also go into Bryonek and pitch the something to bounce the traps again. That's also something I was looking for if I don't get Falcon.
That is true. Trooper basically makes Gale and Darkspear alive if you draw them now.
Exactly. And Livier would have been better here.
Yeah. And you did have you have Sangan in grave, but
Yeah,
I definitely think that Trooper is the better choice, even though Sangan Resolution probably wins you the game with another tour guide, because this is a 2-turn clock by itself and Sangan is a 4-turn clock.
yeah. That's reasoning.
And you hit 3 blanks, but it doesn't matter, they're not really cards, and he draws second Tengu, which is probably the best draw, maybe Prison is better.
Yeah, but it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. You Fiendish here.
Yeah,
What's the reasoning behind that? You don't want to take the damage?
no, I just wanted to keep my limit reverse alive.
Ah, that's something I didn't consider at all, but it does make sense. And then you draw a second trooper, and is there a lethal line here? I guess we'll see. Mill 3, Mill 3.
Here, I went for the limit reverse and not for the fiendish because I'm not scared of any monster anymore from TG. They don't have reborn. They cannot really hurt me anymore with monsters. But what they can do is somehow stabilize and run from there. So I don't go for the safe play with Fiendish. I think at this point it's a safe play to go for limit reverse. Just because I need to grind so much that he cannot come back in any shape or form.
Like, definitely agree with not bouncing the Fiendish. Unless they play something really, really unusual, there's no monster that could threaten what you're doing. Like, even Tour
Right.
Guide. Yeah, but Tour Guide only makes a 2 and 5, and then you can take Ryo and limit reverse something, right? Oh,
Yeah.
you don't have a tuner yet? Oh, you have Grand Mole, so you would win if he does that.
Yeah.
There's no lethal line, there's no light in the graveyard. Yeah,
There's nothing.
I think that's correct. And then do you set both after attacking? Yeah, that's perfect. If he has heavy, you win. If he doesn't, now he has 50-50.
Exactly.
And then here it's just academic, right? Yeah, swing into our dead back row.
If you had TT, I would just have limit reversed Trooper ridden. If you had Mirror Force, I cannot kill, but with Thunderlord on the field and limit reverse, I feel safe.
Yeah, and then he would have one fewer top decks to beat what you already have. But
Yeah.
that was well maneuvered, I think. A lot of like small optimizations. So let's see how if you can win while not being on the draw.
Let's see.
We already know the answer. And this is
Again,
this is
the Ryo.
yeah, and here he has Ryo, and then Jarlet is into a second Ryo.
He
That is
already has 3 normal summons and gets the Ryo.
yeah, I'm not really sure about that one.
So I think most of the players that are not familiar with Falcon Punch think Ryo is good, just because they see how often you resolve Sengan and that you play free duality. That's why they just keep digging for the Ryo.
I can see like that is probably like the pattern recognition misfiring, because what they should see is Falcon and Trooper, which is the worst thing you can see.
Yeah.
He also has, unfortunately, not the strongest hand, but neither do you. You keeping Crow because it's dark, or do you think it's like... Did you expect him to open Reborn again, maybe?
Reborn, Call of the Hunted, and I can deny a search with a TG monster.
Yeah, you think that is relevant enough to keep it in?
With Sengan, I can get a summon most of the times, or a hand trap. There aren't really good hand traps against TG. My best hand trap against TG is Crow. So if I need a hand trap when I have already 2 or 3 normal summons, I get the Crow.
That's reasonable. Did you remove Veiler Maxi?
Yes, I put them array.
That's correct. And for the record, Alex Lenin did not play any Call of the Haunted. But of course you were not... You didn't know that, so...
After the tournament, I knew, but not during.
Yeah. And he makes the reasonable play, I think. Do you typically Typhoon in these situations?
I have a revival trap, and if I get the Sengan safely in the grave, I feel like I'm already in a really, really good position. So, yes, I just Typhoon, so I'm safe that my Armageddon Knight gets the Sengan in grave.
Yeah, Armageddonite that also kills their monster.
Yeah,
And there...
Sugar is
Go on.
such a broken card.
Yeah, it's probably the best like 3 of in the format, I'd say.
Yeah,
And then you set only one because you only have one target, and now you're already in a position to start grinding. Is that the reasoning?
yeah, yeah. What do I want to summon here with Call of the Haunted except Sengan?
Yeah, maybe you want to summon Leviathan when it slams the second Ryo.
Yeah.
But you can just take the swing and set call. And here Upstart shows its value, drawing into the best card you could probably hit here.
I think Falcon is a little bit better here.
No, that's actually... Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah. But yes, Card Trooper also. you have enough good normal summons against Ryo.
Yeah. And I think this makes the play easier. Now you
Yeah.
have to pray for that he doesn't have a second DP. But he has lands, which is also perfect.
So here I go for a little bit of damage. There's a reason I know he had Barbaros in game 1. So there's like I think no one plays Barbaros and 3 Ryo in a TG deck, except you play 60 cards for some reason.
Yeah.
And he had already 2 Ryos in G-Ry. If he has Reborn or Call of the Hunted for Ryo, that's absolutely fine with me. I know I go -1, but I have 2 Call of the Hunted. I can get Trooper and I get the +1 back and mill 3 cards for my next Call of the Hunted.
Yeah, it's also... The Crow, ironically, is really strong at insulating you from this now as well, even though it was probably the worst card in your hand earlier.
Yeah. Also, I need him to trigger the Sengan for me because I have 2 revival traps. That means if I get a level 3 tuner, I can go into Brynek and just win the game with him.
Yeah, that interaction, a Revival Trap Brownock, is extremely strong, especially with a searcher like Sangan or Goblin.
Yeah, so it would be nice if he can trigger the search for me. If I use Sengan as a search as a chunk blocker, he maybe doesn't attack here. So I thought maybe just get a 1k attack in, and then he will run over it, most likely.
And what happens is, you set both.
Yeah. I have Trooper and G-Roy. If he has heavy, I
Yeah,
don't feel bad.
yeah, you get search and a draw. Do you typically put the search or draw first if you resolve both at the same time?
I typically get the draw as a chain 2, and after that Sengan, or the first draw, after that search, except I don't have that many targets in deck anymore. Then I use Sengan first, so I don't draw the target that I want.
Okay. That seems mathematically correct. And he beats, which is more or less what you wanted.
Yeah, I get my level 3 tuner, and now I can explode if he doesn't have anything to drop me.
Yeah, once again calling in end phase.
Yeah. Maybe he has Maxi.
Oh, the top deck lands comes in extremely clutch.
Yeah.
And now you have like the world. You can go off like a combo deck here, right?
Yeah. I mean, I don't kill him now, but I get such a setup that I'm basically invincible.
Yeah. So you call Trooper.
I got the Trooper out so I can kill another Tengu and I get a draw.
Yeah. Now I was thinking you'd discard Dark Spear to bounce this call and then call Dark Spear, but you didn't have Falcon until you used Trooper.
Yeah, that was the point because while we searched Gale and went into Brynek because we had no access to Falcon.
Yeah.
And he is a pseudo Falcon.
And then you attack with Trooper first because Bryonak has
Oh, I attacked with Brynek first.
You did, but isn't this Lanced?
Yeah, yeah, but the Tengu was
Oh,
halved.
yeah.
No, I pitched a Crow because I thought maybe he plays Veiler. I know playing Veiler in TG is really bad. But I saw some people doing that, so I thought if he negates my Revival Trap Bones, I want Darkspear for next turn. So I pitched the Crow first just to see if he has Veiler.
Yeah, reasonable. And he didn't. So now you can go
Yeah.
on sitting at 3 discard traps on the Bryonak.
Yeah.
And here he makes Orient Dragon.
I'm absolutely fine at this point. He can kill all my monsters all over again.
And here you only did one in end phase. Is there a particular reason for that?
Not really. I would say Maxi is again a reason.
Yeah, if you didn't, if you
So-
consider flipping calls as well in end phase.
So if I get Darkspear out in the end phase, you can use Maxi to get one draw. If it's my turn, I activate Darkspear. Then if he changes Maxi, I can chain both Call of the Hunted.
That is true.
I don't know if you can do it more optatively and special more in the end phase for some stuff. Also, I didn't knew maybe how this turn will play out, so I didn't want it to to use all my Call of the Hunted at once.
That's reasonable. It's also highly unlikely that you would actually play Duality even if you drew it right, because Dark Spear is basically unnegatable.
There's no way I would have played Duality.
Yeah. So let's see you do the beautiful combos here.
Yeah. Gale. That's also now I can use Darkspear again. So they're
Yes.
attached from the revival traps.
And then Sangan and then you DC. Thunderlord.
Thunderlord.
This is getting out of hand.
Getting a follow-up play.
And he debunks, but he's down to one card and you have Thunderlord Judgment and 2 revival traps.
Exactly. Yeah, I felt really safe.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah, attack with Falcon. If maybe he has Mirror Force, you can bounce Call down to it.
Why didn't... What was Trooper summon with?
Normal summon, I drew him.
Oh, and that's the win.
Yeah.
And I guess we're gonna do shoutouts in a bit, but I see that thanks Darksigner, the OG creator. So this is his deck originally.
Yeah, when we started when we started playing this format, he had this old deck from his time at, I think it was 2012. He noticed he can play it in Tengu Plans as well. At the start, it was really not that good looking. It had cards like Tengu in it instead of Tour Guide, but over some time we improved the deck.
Yeah, it's basically like if someone told me this deck existed, I would assume it had Tengu in it, and not that it played Limit Reverse to recycle Darkspear. I'll tell you that.
I can believe that. Some people still claim the version with the field spell is better.
I think those are two totally distinct decks in my opinion. One of them like is basically like this extremely grindy deck that outgrinds TG like it's nothing, and the other deck is a deck like the interaction between Falcon, Tengu, and the field puts like 7,400 damage from an empty field. So I think that's a highly aggressive like aggro combo deck, and this is more of mid range.
The Falcon Punch deck me and Darksigner built is more around your cards can do stuff alone, and if you reach the point where you have the combination for some grindy combos, it's nice. Other people I saw, if they tried the deck, they use cards like Big Bang Shot or something like that, where they say, I will reach that point anyway, let me go a little bit more plus. But I think that's the wrong approach.
Yeah, I'm also more of a fan of of this style of the deck with fewer bricks. Even before, like, of course, no one's gonna believe me now that you won with this, but uh, I saw this as the correct approach. I'm also a huge fan of like lower monster counts. I think people typically play three monsters, three Ryos, like too much, and this is 16 monsters, out of which three aren't really real monsters. And that with six draw spells gives a way better ratio to the deck, in my opinion.
Funny thing, I don't know why, but if I play the deck in real life, I sometimes don't have enough monster more often, so I pitch Grand Mole or Ryo in the main deck.
There's multiple reasons, but it's not that DB shuffles poorly. It's more likely that you shuffle not enough in real life.
Yeah, that's most likely the reason.
But thanks for being here. Do you have any final thoughts?
I don't want to set the expectation of this deck too high. I think I already said one of the biggest reasons I won with this deck was a lot of people didn't knew how to play against it. I think it's more like a rogue deck, what's mid tier.
So
So yeah,
you'd say like that the worst deck in top tier is either Catsif or Gravekeeper, I guess. And this is like slightly below that, or
I think it's on a similar level to Scrap, a little bit better.
okay.
I think it is still good, but I want to say I had the advantage. I think it really helped me, so don't be that excited. I don't want people to think, oh no, this deck sucks. I cannot win a tournament with it. Yeah,
That
it's
is good to share so people don't get tricked.
yeah, but it's still my favorite deck to play in this format.
It looks really fun, if nothing else.
Yeah,
And finally, do you have any shoutouts?
of course, Dark Signer, the co-creator, I would say, and Halfa and Law, who really helped a lot during testing. They gave their suggestions, and they're a highly skilled player that really helped me when I wanted to test against some matchups.
And with that, I bid you farewell.